What is the craziest thing you have witnessed while in college? Possibly NSFW. Freshman year of college. Made friends with a small guy, 5 feet 3 inches, of Latino descent. He lived in the dorm room next to me. Very laid back. Very intelligent. Loved to smoke weed. Said he had dealt a while back, but was out of the game. One day, after a long day of classes, I hopped into the elevator to go to my floor. I was the only one in there as the doors started to close. Then, a black glove appeared at the last second and held the elevator open. Before I knew it, I was surrounded by large rifles and men in SWAT gear. They calmly filed in, squishing me in the middle. I think I remember there being 5 or 6. So, at what floor do you guys need? 6th floor. My floor. Oh, that's where I'm going to. Good. Alright kid. When we say go, you're going to be the point man. Meanwhile, 3rd floor. 4th floor. Wait, what? What do you mean It was a joke kid. But seriously, get the duck out of the way when we get there. We get to the 6th floor, and they run all the way down. Kick the door open. Arrest the kid. What did they find? 5 pounds of weed, $10,000 and away $2,500. All in a college dorm room from an unsuspecting friend. TLDR. SWAT team elevator. Edit. Fixed to show away. Thanks, Euraxius. Walked into a theater party to see a girl, butt naked, do a line of coke off a guy's D. I'm dead serious. You can't make this it up. At a fraternity party there was an old alumni around 60 years old doing a keg stand. 2 girls came up to him and asked if he wanted to motorboat them. He smiled and said, sorry to disappoint ladies, but I'm married. Flashed his ring and disappeared into the night. Classy mother ducker. I went to a small Christian college and I once witnessed a kid who forgot to pray before eating his meal in the cafeteria. He was so embarrassed that after giving him a hard time we all laughed it off. It was insane. We have this preacher who regularly comes on campus to condemn people to hell. One day, 2 girls decided to strip and run at the old man. It was hilarious. The 2 got arrested and had to sit in the grass, naked and handcuffed. Kinky it. 1 kg of sodium into the river. I once visited my friend at university for the weekend during Halloween a few years ago. It was late at night and I was walking back to this girl's room. As we walked by the common area I saw Batman giving it to Sailor Moon from behind, both of them still in full costume, masks and all. I had a friend who would casually call his grandmother to pick him up from parties, but she would end up staying there for about 45 minutes getting drunk and making friends. I also bought weed from a place called Fat Mama's who served all you can eat chicken and fries. Some guy ducking a girl in the ass in the kitchen of the apartment opposite ours, with the lights on and in clear view of about 100 people. So 3 things I witnessed at this party last year kinda blew my mind. This was a huge party. There was probably about 300-400 people between the people inside and the people outside. As usual, everyone is trying to cram into the garage for the DJ, and this is a 3-door garage basement combo. It is completely packed inside, flowing out a good 30 feet into their driveway, all full of people shoulder to shoulder trying to get in. I knew the kids who lived there and was let in through the front. Yada yada. About 1 hour later my friend tells one of the house owners, yo man, you gotta come to the basement. This girl is just blowing this guy in the corner. We just sat there and said what? The house owners and company forced their way downstairs and lo and behold this girl is straight up blowing this kid in the corner of the dance floor. We didn't want to stop her because we were afraid the kid might blow his load at any minute. So we let it continue, said duck it, and went back upstairs. Same party. It gets broken up around 12 by the police. In helping clear out the party I discovered a couple having sex in a tree. Literally in a tree. Told them to finish up and get out. Also I watched this kid, probably 6 feet 8, 250 pounds, rip a tree about 4 feet tall out of the ground and carry it home. Yeah, college. I once saw a 65-year-old biology professor do a keg stand. A 3rd tenure. My dorm room was the type where there was 2 rooms that connected and shared a bathroom. My suite mate was banging a girl late at night in the bathroom. I could hear everything. He says to the girl, The code word for when I'm about to blow is Jumanji. 5 minutes later I hear him screaming like it's 1995 again. Jumanji II. Jumanji II. From the on out, I've lost endless hours of sleep from the word Jumanji. I mean, I've seen every drug imaginable consumed. Been to a naked party. People boning in the corner of parties. The usual. But my craziest experience probably has to be being in the middle of a riot caused by a basketball win that put us in the Elite 8. My school is known for celebrating by burning couches, but this took it a step further. There was a large fire in the middle of the road with drunk people everywhere throwing stuff into it. I was standing on a car, the only place to stand. Every car on the block was being stood on. When someone started chanting "flip the car," I immediately got off as a couple dozen people flipped the Sunfire and rolled it into the fire. At this point the girl whose car it was came out and screamed, "That's my car." To which the crowd started chanting, "That's my car. That's my car." A fire truck eventually came, but the road was blocked, so it had to spray its hose as far as it could, barely reaching the car and soaking everyone there. After that, riot police came in and pepper sprayed everyone. This was 7 years ago, but as of last week, this stuff is still going on at my alma mater every time we have a big win. 40 fires set just this past weekend. Edit. Video. Car in fire at 3:50. Underage at a bar. Turn around and a girl woman whips out a tit. Squeezes and lactates about 10 feet across the bar. I didn't realize how ducked up that was till hours later. Saw a girl protesting police brutality in the middle of our main building by getting naked in a Rubbermaid tub filled with bullet shells and watered down mace. And she scrubbed herself and recited poetry. Edit. Changed Tupperware to Rubbermaid. : I walked into the bathroom at a random party to find 2 naked guys in the shower pouring orange juice on themselves while a girl watched and laughed. About a week later I met all 3 while I was out at dinner with one of their friends, and they seemed fairly normal but said weird things like that happen when that honors study group hangs out. My freshman year, after going out to a house party and coming back to our dorm room, me and my good friend end up in some girl's room for an after party. We both hook up with her at different times, me first, and then I proceed to look to my left and see the girl's extremely obese roommate slipping off her bed and slamming onto the floor. She had been drinking whiskey and was fairly new to the drinking game. She was so drunk she was fingering herself while puke was gurgling out of her mouth. Her fat, saggy tit was hanging out of her shirt. Then someone called an ambulance and had her taken away. She later transferred out, probably from embarrassment considering everyone knew. When I was a freshman, a foreign student had the SWAT team break down his door and confiscate the electronics from his room, including his roommate's stuff. Apparently he was involved in anonymous activities. Pretty intense it. Link for extra information. Halloween at ASU, Arizona State. Most of the girls' costumes were over the top sexy, but this one chick really outdid herself. To put this in perspective, I saw her in the cafeteria, freshman I'm assuming, casually walking around with her costume on. Her costume was a baseball jersey, no pants, no underwear, complete ass showing as she walked, and yes, she was hot. I was at my buddy's girlfriend's house. She was having an acid party. Basically there were a couple of groups tripping and we all ended up there at the end of the day. My buddy comes back from the bar with 2 girls. He and one of the girls drops. The other girl was too drunk for it to be responsible. Anyways, drunk he was really into my buddy. He goes into the bathroom with the 2 girls to have a more intimate setting. The girl he was tripping with was an old friend and they wanted to have a heart to heart. Anyways, the drunk girl rips down his pants and starts sucking his flaccid D with all her might. His friend just starts laughing and sits down in the bathtub cracking up at the sight. He yells at me, "Hey Kung Pao Chuck, can you come over here?" I walk around the corner and see him leaning on the sink with this nonsense going down. He just points down and says, "We got a bit of a situation here." I start laughing and sit down with the girl in the bathtub to see how it would unfold. My buddy getting his D sucked was tripping too hard to really know what to do until he just gets annoyed and says a few words I'm certain I will never hear again. "Can you just stop sucking my D for 5 minutes please?" I once saw someone underage drinking. Crazy it. A postdoctoral researcher at my college tried to kill a colleague with a katana. An honest to god legitimate Japanese katana. The man was apparently into martial arts and had been in dispute with another gentleman over a woman. During the confrontation he shouted something to the effect of "You ruined my life." He didn't succeed in killing his peer before he was subdued by police, but his victim and an officer required hospitalization afterwards. This didn't happen at my university, but I saw it. I was sort of seeing this guy who went to college a couple towns over, and we were up late one night skyping. I should mention that his mic wasn't working, so we were webcamming, but typing. Eventually, we both fell asleep at the computer, and when I woke up he was gone, and there was an all caps message saying, "Gotta go. Hall on fire." I tried calling his cell, but he wasn't picking up, and I called the college, but all the lines were full. His webcam was still on. I watched his dorm burn to the ground from the inside, until his monitor melted. Scariest ducking night of my life. He's fine, but it turns out it was arson. Some ducker filled the elevator shaft all the way up with newspaper, poured gasoline in, and then lit it up. There was a group of students that attempted to found a religion and declare one of the dorm buildings a sovereign nation. It got far enough that the US military had been contacted with an offer to set up a military base in exchange for beer and their finest of meats and cheeses. They did indeed get a response. It's stories like this that make me really miss college. I was on campus once walking through the park and saw a coyote running at full speed past me. I looked up and see about 10 naked frat guys with sticks and pitchforks running after it, not saying a word. I have nothing to share that's even half as wild as some of the stories here, but the funniest thing happened to me in my first year. I was an abnormal college student living in the dorms, as I would actually typically get to bed before midnight and mostly always got a good night's sleep. One night I woke up and couldn't get back to sleep, so I decided to walk around the building. I pushed a button to get on the elevator, and when the doors opened I found that a whole talk show set had been built inside. There was one guy sitting behind a desk wearing a full suit, and there was one camera guy in the other corner filming. They had a ton of props, including a huge backdrop on the back wall of the elevator and a bunch of set decorations that made it look like the old Late Night with Conan O'Brien show. Evidently, he did this once a week and would stay up all night in the elevator and would interview whatever guests happened to get on with him. It became really popular by the end of the semester and he ended up having musical guests, stand-up comedians, and all kinds of different acts. This was around 2004, and while it didn't predate YouTube, it predated nice digital video cameras. I still have some of the old files. They're pretty pixely and the sound isn't that great, but if this gets upvoted enough, I'll dig them up and post them to YouTube if anyone wants to see. Edit. Wow. Guess you guys do want to see them. I'll look through my old backup CDs today and see if I can find them. Some girls' fashion choices. It's cold outside. Better wear my Nike shorts and my North Face jacket. Not my story, but awesome. Annan College has that guy who graduated like 10 years before but just couldn't give up the life. Big house party early in the year. Lots of freshmen. Cops show. Clear out the house. Line everyone out in the yard for IDs. Said grad runs full bore out the front door with a fire extinguisher over his head. Empties it all around the yard and screams ninja. Vanish. Dust clears and all the kids are gone. Cops let him go with a warning because they couldn't stop laughing. My new hero. Freshman year there was a kid who lived in the dorm next to mine who was pretty quiet and didn't really do too much. He would butt into conversations during the floor meetings trying to be funny, but it was usually painfully awkward. 2 weeks into school I come back to my floor with a group of cops by my door to find out this kid had been leaving notes talking about suicide and killing people around campus, and he was kicked the duck out. Last year we had a Nintendo themed birthday party for a friend, and it was out of control. Multiple people got taken to the hospital for alcohol poisoning. I was about 3 hours into an acid trip when it started to pour rain, and the host, my good friend, decides to bust out a slip and slide. Not too many people joined in until some girl dressed as Princess Peach decides to strip down naked and go for it. TLDR. Freshman neighbor got kicked out for leaving suicide notes and I saw Princess Peach do a naked slip and slide while I was on acid. I witnessed a few people damn near get wrecked by a couch on wheels a couple of years ago on our last class celebration, commonly known around these parts as BSD. There was an event called Couch Races, and one couch went way out of control way too fast and impaled a crowd in such an amusing way. Damn thing is forbidden now. Video. It's pretty funny, and no one was seriously hurt.